This wrap top version of the Betty dress is so versatile. It's so great for the nursing season, if that is a season that you're entering or that you've been in for a while. It's a beautiful dress no matter what season you're in, and you can find the pattern below. This fabric I found on Etsy. It's also linked below. It's a linen stripe and it just flows beautifully. It's perfect for the Betty dress. First, you're going to cut out all of your pattern pieces according to the pattern instructions and how it's printed on the pattern. Next, unpin your front and back bodice pieces. With the right sides together, sew your center back seams at 1/2 inch seam allowance. You can finish this off in the finish of your choice, meaning that could be a serge, that could be zigzag stitch on the edge, it could be a French seam, or even using pinking shears, which is a zigzag scissor. And then press this seam to one side to keep it clean and out of the way. Unfold your front and back pieces. Right sides together, pin your front and back pieces together at the shoulder, matching the notches. Now sew the shoulder together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance and finish these seams and press to one side. Stitch along the entire neckline at 1/4 inch. This is a stay stitch, just so your neckline doesn't stretch while you continue working. Unpin your 2 binding pieces and right sides together. Sew one end together at the short slanted ends so you have one continuous strip of binding. Just make sure you're watching how to do it right here because it can get kind of tricky, but it will make one continuous piece. Right sides together, match the center of your binding to the center back seam of your neckline. Stitch your binding to your neckline at 1/4 inch and you will gently stretch the binding as you sew. Don't worry if you have any bias overhang at the corners of the wrap, we can cut those off later. Now press your 1/4 inch seam allowance away from the bodice of the dress . Press the raw outside edge of the binding in towards your seam allowance at 1/4 inch. Now fold along the seam line so your bias strip is now laying on the inside of the bodice. Secure your bias strip by sewing along the edge of the bias, encasing the seams, and it will be really clean and you'll see the facing and the bias on the inside. Match your center front notches together on the top and the bottom to create the wrap top. You can use a basting stitch to sandwich the bottom pieces together, and this will make sure that it doesn't move around as you're adding the tiers to the rest of your dress. Now continue with the rest of the Betty dress instructions with the sleeves and the tiers and finishing all the little details. To find that tutorial, you can click this next video.